Hello, it's me again, Kelly Liao. It has been quite some time since my last update in the YouTube. I think if I'm right, it's about 6 weeks already. Because of my eyes condition, I couldn't do any video editing. Thank you for your patience and concern. Some of you asked me why am I not doing any posting. Here I am, I'm back. Recently, I got a great deal. There is a 22% discount from this deal direct from the developer. Why do I say this is a great deal? Because in December 2022, when I was visiting KL, I went to developer's office site and tried to get to know about this deal. That time the PSF was 1009, but today in 2024 April, I got a deal at 1004 per square feet. Why is there such a big gap in the PSF? Is because over this period of time, there is some financial issue with the original developer, who is a Hong Kong and China developer. As a result, this project was sold to the local developer at a great loss of 3.5 billion ringgit. When the second developer took over the project, they are able to sell to the investors at a much cheaper rate, which is around 1,004 to 1,005. What surprised me was that I not only have the 22% discount, I also don't have to pay for the land title transfer fee or the legal fee whatsoever. I was told that I just need to top up a 7% for the down payment. My second surprise was when I applied for the bank loan, the bank valued the property at 1.5 million, which is more than the net price I purchased from the developer at 1.3 something million. As a result, there is a cashback of 20k. In other words, I do not need to pay a single cent for this project. Does that mean if the bank valuation is more than the project itself, then I can safely go ahead with the purchase? I don't think so. It is important that we evaluate, analyze the location of this project and who is the developer of this project. Location is extremely important. As I mentioned earlier in my previous videos, that it is very important to buy KL properties in the Golden Triangle zone of KLCC, Pavilion and TRX. If we are buying the property for Airbnb, we are going to attract the tourists to come and rent it from us on short-term basis. If we are going to rent it for long-term basis, we are going to attract those people who work in the city area, for example the TRX. So if we buy property that is in KL, which is also near to the TRX or within this triangle zone, it's easy to rent the property out, even for co-living. Another important factor which we must not overlook is the location of the MRT or the LRT, because traffic system in Malaysia is quite jammed, so people will always prefer to rent a place that is near to the MRT, so that it's easier for them to get to the workplace. I've came across quite a number of friends in KL who are investors of the KL property. They are local people, so they do not buy the commercial title residential units like me in the Golden Triangle zone. Because they are locals, they are not restricted by the law, which state that we have to buy properties more than 1 million ringgit. Local Malaysian people has the advantage to buy properties that are below 1 million ringgit. So they are able to buy residence units which is outside the triangle zone. They can buy properties that are located quite far away from the city, and still there are readily available tenants who are ready to rent the room from them. Why is that so? Because KL has job opportunities. It's just like Singapore. Everywhere is job opportunity. So when there is job opportunity, definitely people will need a place to stay, and that is when the rooms, if you buy residence units in KL, you do not need to afraid that the rooms cannot be rented out. It's just a matter of the price of the room that you rent out. I keep repeating this point, hope you all can tahan with me for a while, that it is important when we invest in property, we must look at two factors. Number one is inflation. whether there's inflation or not. If there's inflation, very likely there will be capital appreciation. Second factors that will cause the capital to appreciate is the demand and supply. So when the demand is higher than the supply, definitely the price will also increase. But what is the cause of demand increase? It is actually job availability. If we buy the property in KL, definitely job is available. Okay, people come from all over Malaysia will come to KL to look for jobs. So when there is job availability, people will need a place to stay. So you do not need to worry so much that your room cannot be rented out, because no matter how bad the economic situation is, people still need a place to stay. In my opinion, KL is almost exactly like Singapore, very small. Let's compare KL and JB again. JB Iskandar project alone is 6 times the size of Singapore. There are so many land areas that are still not fully occupied, but the population is very limited, and hence there won't be job availability for people to take up the units built in JB. So if you are thinking about capital appreciation, I think to be more practical, on the safer side, KL is a better investment place than JB for you to park your investment fund in. Let me address the issue on RTS. People were saying that once the RTS kicks in, the Princess Cove projects, for instance, and all the surrounding JB projects will increase in price. Pertaining to this matter, I have no doubt that the price will increase. However, there are so many things that are still uncertain. For instance, the RTS will only start functioning in 2026. During this period of time, we are not sure what will happen next. So if we buy the property now, we have to take into consideration the opportunity cost that is involved when we pump our money into a certain project that do not earn the money now. In my opinion, if you ask me to invest in some property, I would definitely consider first option to buy those properties that enable me to profit, to earn money instantly, so that there is no opportunity cost. If I am buying JB property, is for future projection that the price will increase, or there might be people renting the rooms from me. Of course it's attractive, but I need to take into consideration opportunity cost. If I use this same amount of money that I'm supposed to put in the JB property to invest elsewhere, I will be able to generate greater profits, which is also guaranteed. If you ask me, I would like to choose the investment that allows me to get guaranteed return. Then I have a bunch of friends who told me that they still prefer to buy JB property because JB is close to Singapore. They can stay in that property when they retire. Now, in my opinion, the place where we stay is not necessarily owned by us. What we can do is treat this property as a kind of asset and tools for us to generate wealth. If we want a place to stay, we can easily rent the place from anybody in JB at a very cheap price. For instance, Sinibong Cove, you can rent there a 2-story landed property at 3,006 ringgit. So with that amount of money, you can live very comfortably in landed property in Sinibong Cove already. Why should you bother to go and buy a property in JB? Now go back to the topic on the future price. Many people think that in future the price will also increase, so it's better to buy now than to be late. When the price increase, then you buy it, we're going to pay a higher price for that. Like what I mentioned just now, if you use the money now to invest in higher return property which give you instant return, alright, even though you might miss the opportunity now to buy the JB property, but you already earn money from the KL property, for instance, then in future when and you really want to move to JB to stay, then you buy the property. It won't be too late as well. Why? Because property price will go up and down. It will not go skyrocket until you cannot buy, cannot afford. What's come to worst? Let's say when you really want to buy, then the property increase a lot, then you can just rent and you can still stay in JB, right? If you use the money you want to buy JB property to buy property elsewhere, and you successfully make money out of it, you would have a sum of money to help and support you to pay for the future high rental in JB if you were to end up renting a unit in JB. What is important is that we must put as much money into our pocket as early as fast as possible. Hence, when I invest, I will make sure that the assets that I acquire will instantly help me to generate income immediately, not an income that is projected and unforeseeable. This is especially important to take into consideration when we are investing in overseas properties, because overseas politics and economy, we have no control and there is no certainty. There are so many cases in the past that Malaysia government has already approved of certain projects, but during halfway they can just terminate without very good reasons. We have experienced that already, so we must be very careful when we do overseas property investment. I've come to the end of my sharing session today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do like my video, please remember to subscribe and give me a like. I'll see you in my next video next week.